Happy Wednesday. We are halfway through the week. Oh, so great. Today we are going to take what we have been working on this week with finding the area of parallelograms and triangles, and now using it to find the area of composite shapes. So what a composite shape is more than one shape that is put together to make one huge shape. And to be able to find the area of composite shapes, we are actually going to decompose these shapes into smaller shapes. Okay, so I need you to go and open your Google Slides to this slide. There's only one slide on this, and this is going to be your notes. These are going to be your examples. So this is all you're going to do today is take notes, and then tomorrow you'll actually have a practice on finding the area of composite shapes. Okay, let's get started with the example 1. So if I'm looking at example 1, I'm going to zoom this in. Okay, so the first thing you need to think about on these is where can I break them? So there's more than one place. You could choose to break it here. You could break it there. There are multiple places you can break it. It's completely up to you. I'm actually going to do it this way, right here. So I'm going to draw it on both just so you can see. Remember, you can use the lines in the line ability in your Google Slides. So for this, I'm looking at 2 rectangles. So this bottom rectangle is going to be 4 times 9, right there. And that tells me that this is 36. Okay, here's the tricky thing. On this one, this whole side is 6, but we only need this little piece right here is what we're looking for, is that little piece. Well, if I see that this whole thing is 6, and I know that this piece right here is 4, that tells me this little piece has to only be 2, and we can see that over here. Whoops. If I can write again. It keeps moving. Is 2. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Okay, so with that, we can see that this would be 4 times 2, which gives me 8. So this little piece is 8. So to find the total area, you would just add those together. So we have 36 plus the 8, which gives me 4, and they used feet squared. And so if I actually went over here and used this entire box, we would count that there are 44 little squares. So that represents 44 feet squared. Okay, let's move over to example 2. Okay, so on example 2, I would break it here, same thing. It's the same shape on both of them, by the way. There's just one it's showing you with grid paper, since that's how we started, was with grid paper, and one without. Because then you just have a triangle and a rectangle to find. So the big rectangle, my length and width is 11 times 6, which we know is 66. And then we have to think about this triangle over here. Well, we know the base is 4. So right here, your base is 4, but we've got to look at this height. So here's the key, is you always have to look kind of what hints they give you. This whole thing is 11, so this whole thing is 11. But I can see that this part of the 11 is 7. So that leaves 4 for this to be. And we can see that over here as well, that is 4. So we know 4 times 4. So remember, our area for our triangle is base times height. And then we're going to divide that by 2. So 4 times 4 is 16. Divided by 2 gives me 8. Okay, so my triangle is 8. So then I'm going to put that together. I'm going to put it over here. Kind of ran out of room. 66 plus 8 is going to give me 74. And this one's going to be inches squared. Okay, and if we actually went and counted in here all these inches, we would see, or all these boxes, that there are 74 squares in there. Some of them you have to think of, piecing like this and this together. Similar thing, it actually would be this and then those two would go together. Okay, let's move on to the next example. So we're going to move down here to number 1. So I want you to think for a second, where would you put that line? So you have 2 options. You could put the line here, or you could put the line there. It is totally up to you, however you want to do it. So I'm actually going to draw my line. Sorry, I'm not sure where it got cut off, but I'm going to draw the line this way because, and there is a good reason, I'm looking at the lengths and widths. So length is given to me and the width, and that's why I chose that direction. Same thing here, length and width were both given to me. So I'm going to call this rectangle A and rectangle B. So for rectangle A, I would do 9 times 4, which would be 36. For rectangle B, I would do 2 times 6, which is 12. So the total of those two areas would be 48, and that would be feet squared. So that's all we're doing is we're finding each shape's area and then putting it back together to make the total area. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Okay, for number 2, you can choose how you want to cut this again. It really doesn't matter. So you can choose to cut here, or you can choose to cut here. It'll get you the same answer. I'm going to go with that direction. So once again, we still have just 2 rectangles, so we're looking at our length and our width. So that's 2 times 11 for this one. So I'm going to call this rectangle A again. So A equals 2 times 11, which we know is 22. You guys have a little more room to type than I do. Okay, but then we have to look at this other one down here. So I'm going to kind of trace this into the lime green. Okay, I can tell my length is 7, but what would this tiny width be? Well, if this is 2, that would be 2, which leaves the width to just be 1. So for triangle B, we have 7 times 1, which is 7. And then we add those two together, we'll get 29 centimeters squared. Okay, so that's number 2. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Remember, you can pause the video if I'm going too fast at any time. Okay, number 3, I think number 3 you're going to want to put in the box at the top up here where it says type here. Okay, so on this one, this is probably your best bet is to do that. So once again, we have a rectangle. So we have to remember this 14 over here, this is what throws some people off, is it's the whole thing. For this rectangle though, I just need this length and width right there. So I'm actually gonna move this up a little more so you can see. Okay, so my length and width here, my length is gonna be my 10 over here, my width is gonna be my 9. So we'll call this A. So my area for that rectangle is 10 times 9, which is 90. Okay, and we're going to call the triangle B. Okay, so the thing with B, though, is we need to know this little length right here because we need that height. Well, if we know the whole thing from top to bottom here is 14, but we know that this is 10 because parallel sides on a rectangle are the same, that would be 10. That leaves this little piece to only be 4. So it's kind of a little bit like a puzzle. You kind of have to think, okay, this entire thing is 14, but this from here to here is 10. So that leaves that to be 4. Say you kind of have to think the same thing here for this line. That entire thing is 9, and they want to know just this little piece right here. Well, I can see that this right here is 6. If the entire thing is 9, that leaves me that to be 3. So for my area of my triangle, I have 4 times 3 divided by 2. Well, 4 times 3 is 12. And then 12 divided by 2 is 6. So then we add those two together, and our total area is going to be 96 inches squared. Okay, we have one more. Hang with me, guys. I know I'm going a little over my 10 minutes, but we're almost there. We're almost done. Okay, this one broke it for you. This one's going to be so easy. So easy. They were nice to you on this one. So your rectangle right here, I'm going to call shape A. We can see our length is 6 and our width is 2, so you just have 6 times 2 for that, which gives you 12, or here. area, 6 times 2 equals 12. Okay, and then you've got to use your area of your triangle. Well, here is my base right here, which is the same size as this. So that means my base is 6. And then it gave me my height of 3. So then for my triangle, we'll call B, our triangle is going to be 6 times 3 divided by 2. 6 times 3 is 18. Divided by 2 is 9. Put that all together. That is a total of 21 meters squared. Okay guys, that is it for today. If you have any questions or anything you need help on, please let me know. So you are just doing this video, so here are your notes. I know it's so busy. Hopefully the type here worked really well for you, but notice that it's just breaking up all the shapes into shapes that you do know, like rectangles and triangles. Okay guys, have a great day, and we will actually practice this on Thursday. You will have a practice to do for this. Have a great day. Bye.